It is my pleasure and my honor to introduce you guys to the founder and my friend, Mr. Peter Gantner.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for that introduction, and welcome, guys, to our Wednesday night live presentation. The reason for our live presentation is, of course, for people to ask questions afterwards. Hopefully the person invited you here as well has sent you a recorded version of this. My name is Peter Gantner, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I absolutely love business, from the good, the bad, the exciting, the not so exciting, the entire process from starting a business all the way through to building it into a brand or into a company. I love every aspect of it. And we've had success with it. If you go online, you can look us up on Google. We've been in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal. In 1999, we had the 15th fastest privately held company in the country, according to Entrepreneur magazine. And but as well as success there, we've had success in the home-based business industry, building teams and putting things together. So through those two experiences is of our success in traditional business and success in the home-based business industry is where the concept or the idea of kulaBrands came out of. And once the concept was kind of put together, so part of my frustration with the home-based business industry was that a few of us would succeed, but the masses would not. They just wouldn't make any money, right? They might get benefit from the product. And I just saw it as a model that had so much potential, but was actually a broken model. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to fix that model, but as well because of my love of traditional business and marketing and branding and distribution of products and inventing and creating. So what I was able to do is take those two loves and combine them together into one business model. And that's what kulaBrands is. As a matter of fact, the model is so unique that after doing our research we actually filed for a patent on it. So it's patent pending right now. And what we filed for a patent on is what's called the reverse royalty through community participation. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And so in order to understand what a reverse royalty is, first let's jump into what a traditional royalty is. Royalties have been around for a very long time. A royalty is a payment made by one party to another that owns a particular asset for the right to ongoing use of that asset. Royalties are typically agreed upon as a percentage of gross or net sales. So let's look at some examples of royalties. And these are just a couple, guys. Michael Jackson has been passed away 5 years ago. Over $52 million from royalty payments alone that continue to come in. Why? Because of what he did when he was alive, those actions that he took continue to pay him because people are willing to pay a royalty for that, for the use of his likeness, his music, things like that. Elvis Presley's net worth of $300 million. 38 years after his death, he is still collecting royalties on what he did while he was here, or at least his estate is. And even major corporations have used royalties. Coca-Cola has a deal with Ohio State, $32 million licensing or royalty deal that allows them access to their student body. So royalties are used all the time. To me, I believe that royalty income is absolutely the best income that anybody can earn by far. Okay, there's a problem with that though. Very few, the smallest percentage of people make money the best way that it is to make money. Well, we wanted to change that, and that's what we're doing with kulaBrands. See, kulaBrands allows for everyday people, for a lot more people to actually generate income using royalties. Now, you may ask yourself how we do that. A reverse royalty is paid by the actor, the inventor, or owner of the asset for services rendered by kulaBrands. Now, you may ask, why would they do that, right? If they're used to getting a royalty, why would they pay it? Well, the kulaBrands community supports the actor, the inventor, and owner with their social actions, as you will see. So if you're part of the world and you're on this computer right now, you understand the power of Facebook, YouTube. There are courses sold for thousands of dollars that literally teach you how to just do Twitter or just do Facebook or just use maybe Amazon as a way to sell things, right? It's because your social influence is becoming more and more valuable. Okay, because of the technology, because of cell phones and iPads and things like that. So what we're doing is we're literally taking this technology, the social networks, in your own social influence, your social activity, which again is becoming more and more valuable. And we're allowing you to utilize that to help an inventor in three important things. See, there are three things that an inventor needs, or a product needs, or a service needs in order to become successful. The first is money, okay? Second, branding and marketing. And the third is sales. So what we're going to show you right now is how you can participate in these three ways in helping an inventor, okay, by using your social influence, that thing that is growing in value. So again, the three things: money, branding and marketing, and sales. So there are already traditional ways that this takes place. What we're doing is utilizing the technology that's available in order for you to benefit from these three mechanisms. So the traditional way of getting money for an inventor or creative person or somebody that wants to get a project in the marketplace, they can go to a bank and borrow it. Very, very low success rate in borrowing money for a startup. You can go to wealthy people. However, the statistics show that 1% or less of people that go out to raise money for ventures actually end up ever raising any money. Okay? Or you can do it the way that most people have done it up to this point, and that is to go into debt. They take their savings and they spend it to get their business started. Maybe they have a 401k they tap into. Maybe they just go to work every day and every extra penny they have, they put into it. Maybe they borrow that money, or maybe they sell off things that they already own in order to get that project going. Well, there's actually a better way, and this way has been around for about 5 or 6 years. And it is called reward-based crowdfunding. It is amazing. When I saw this as an entrepreneur, I fell out of my chair, basically, right? I was like, oh my, this is amazing. What a great way to be able to raise money for it. And I'm going to explain to you what reward-based crowdfunding is. Reward-based crowdfunding is so cool. Simply what you do is you come up with your idea and your invention. And instead of having to go through the way we talked about borrowing or doing any of that stuff, you simply show your idea to a massive audience of people. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people that look at your idea. And you do this through platforms. There's several platforms. Indiegogo was the first. There's Kickstarter, and there's many more that you can do this, that you can share these on online platforms. When you share that idea, those people actually look at your project and say, you know what? I'd like to help him get that done. And so what I will do is I will buy the item now and pay for it. And then when that gives the person the money when they have enough people support them. So you've got to build an audience of people. So let's give an example. Let's say that I had an idea and I needed $35,000 to develop it, get it in the marketplace. I could produce some goods with that. And my item sold for $35. I would share on the platform, and my goal would be to get 1,000 people to prepay me for this item. That gives me what? 1,000 times a 35 is $35,000. That gives me the funds to then develop my item and put it into the marketplace. What a fantastic way to be able to get my product into the marketplace. However, there are also some challenges with this. So, through traditional reward-based crowdfunding, the #1 site out there, 65% of all projects that are posted fail to fund. And 85% of the 35%, which is a very small percentage, actually raised less than $20,000. Now, you may be saying, hey, at $20,000 seems like a lot of money. It's not, though, when you have to develop a campaign, you have to produce tooling or develop your item out, then you have to get that item, you have to pay to ship it out to all these people. So literally, you either have very little money or not. I'm going to give you a quick story here. A buddy of mine had a comic book that he was doing, and he figured he needed about $20,000. His didn't make it the first time, so he put it back up there for 10. He made it the second time, and he actually ended up raising about $12,000. But so far, he's had to put about $7,000 or $8,000 out of his pocket to deliver these rewards. So it didn't quite solve the problem, right, with his situation. So why is it, though, that these projects are unable to either raise enough money or raise any money whatsoever? Not enough social capital. The social capital, building that crowd, is the most important thing to crowdfunding success that's out there. If you look at these projects, if you know what crowdfunding is, that have done tremendous amounts of sales, it's usually because the people who have that spent time, effort, money, energy to generate an audience ahead of time. That's what we do at kulaBrands. See, we're building an online community that's launching, branding, and building it. And the way we do our funding is through this reward-based crowdfunding. So let me explain. We have our first project done, and it's with a gentleman by the name of Len Kenzie. And when Doug was talking about Lenovations, this is his product. This is his company. And instead of taking Zip and Store and going directly to Kickstarter and putting it up there and hoping that he could get it, he knew that he needed an audience. He knew he had to bring his own crowd to Kickstarter. So how did he do that? He brought it to kulaBrands. And we at kulaBrands looked at it, our community, and said, we like this item. And so we did what was called pre-pledging. We said to Len that, Len, when you put it up on Kickstarter, we will go on and pledge for that item because we want Zip and Store. We want the product. So they simply pre-bought the product through our site, and then when it became available on Kickstarter, they went there and made their pledge. Why is that important? Because when you do a Kickstarter campaign, it gets very expensive to produce the video. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. And if your chances of succeeding are only 35%, that can be pretty disappointing. So we put all that stuff together. And so I'm proud to say that within 30 minutes, we hit the goal and exceeded it for what Len needed in order to get this project into the marketplace. And actually, we'll show you at the end of the presentation, currently this project is over $140,000. Now, the initial first $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, I don't know what the total is, it's probably in the $50,000 range, was done by our community. Individuals just like yourself who just simply said, I want to purchase a Zip and Store. I need it for my refrigerator. I want it for my cabinet. It's a cool product. It will benefit me. And so all we did was go on and pledge. And since then, close to $100,000 in additional funds has come into Len. Now that is going to help Len ensure a much greater chance that his project will become successful in becoming a brand or staying around long enough to get into the marketplace. So what happens? Why now? So what do the people from kulaBrands who went on a pre-pledge and then went on Kickstarter, what do they get? When Len sells a Zip and Store anywhere in the world, wholesale, retail, it doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter when, he has actually committed to pay a royalty for the life of the product to our community. And so the first thing we've done now is helped him get the funding for the project. But remember, we said there were three things that were necessary in order to take a project into the marketplace. The first was the money. The second is social branding and marketing. So as a kulaBrands community member, you can actually make money by helping do social branding and marketing. Remember, we talked about the technology and what was available and how your social influence is becoming more powerful. Before we get into that, what is branding? Product branding, simply put, is how a product interacts with its consumer through design, logo, and messaging. The marketing is actually getting that out there. So it might be anybody on Facebook see an ad and you click on it. That's the marketing part, right? TV commercial. Maybe it's a as seen on TV. Maybe it's a magazine ad. So traditionally, whether it's offline or online, there's one thing that's consistent almost with all advertising and marketing that's out there. And that is that you need to spend money up front and then hope that your marketing campaign works. So you'll see if you do like a lot of online marketing, they'll come to you and say, hey, we need to spend about $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 to test the messaging. And then we'll figure out where it works, and then you run that messaging. Well, offline, it's even more expensive. You might want to produce a commercial, run that commercial on TV. It could cost tens of thousands of dollars to see if your marketing works. We know we have figured out a better way to do all of these things that you see on here, and that is by utilizing the social influence of our community. Guys, your social influence, the power of YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, especially in a community setting, has so much influence and so much power. So the community does the social branding and marketing for the product. This helps Len use his capital better instead of spending money the old way first and then hoping for results. Our community does that branding and marketing. which then generates results, and then he pays the royalty off of those results. Again, that's the second reason why we get a royalty on the product. But remember, it's three things, right? The third being sales. So as a kulaBrands community member, you can actually make money by helping do social selling. So social selling with kulaBrands. First thing it does is it helps reserve capital for the inventor. Normally, when you start a company, you then hire a salesperson and you put together a sales team and you expense money. Maybe you go do some trade shows. We do it a little differently. Our community steps up and does the initial sales. What this does is it increases income through sales at a time when sales are historically slow. We call this kulaGap selling. So we get the cash flow coming into the company. If any of you guys have ever watched Shark Tank on TV, and there's, let's say, an inventor standing in front of the group on Shark Tank, and they go, okay, I want $100,000 for 10% of my company. And then when they get to the part of how many have you sold, and they go, we haven't sold any. They like the item, they'll usually make them an offer, but what do they want? 50, 60, 70, 80% of the company, right? Because they haven't generated sales. Now let's talk about the next person who comes in. Again, they present it, they like the product, but then when they ask him, how much have you sold? And that person says, in 6 months, I've sold $300,000 or $500,000 of the product. What are their responses then? Yes, I want to. And sometimes they even fight over getting involved in that item. So that's what we help the inventors do. We help them with those sales. We help them generate that. Same thing, when I'm sitting down with a buyer to Target or Walmart, the first question they ask is, where are you selling it? How many have you sold? How many customers do you have? It's a very powerful answer that can get you much further. So see, we're going to provide you with a powerful direct sales portal. You're going to make affiliate commissions on every sale. You're going to get residual income through the point system, which we're going to explain a little bit on. So we're going to provide that with you. But guys, the direct sales market today worldwide is about $300 billion a year. That's a huge market. But there is a bigger market, and that is the traditional retail marketplace. Guys, Walmart alone sells more product in a year than the entire direct sales market combined. Just one outlet. See, our goal is to use direct sales for a time period of getting the company started and getting it launched. But ultimately, the goal is to have the product being sold in Target and Sears and Walmart, online, offline, Amazon, eBay. It doesn't matter where it's being sold. The fact is that we're benefiting. So we're utilizing these existing distribution chains instead of fighting against them and saying, oh, it's better if you buy it from me. No, it's better if they just buy the item, and it doesn't matter where they buy them because we're generating royalties from all the sales that are taking place on a global level. So let's do a quick recap of kulaBrands services. First of all, we do the social branding, the funding to reward-based crowdfunding. Social branding and marketing, simply utilizing the assets that you're building already when you're adding people to your Facebook page, your social influence. And then social selling, using our community, the direct sales channel in order to sell product, keep that capital coming in. And that's the reason why Len has agreed to pay a royalty to our community for every unit of Zip & Store that is sold in the country. And guys, that's already building, as you can see. And we're going to talk at the end of this, some of the success that we're having with that project. And we'll give you guys kind of an update in the interest that's out there. So now let's get to the key point. How do you, if you decide to become a kulaBrands community member, actually make money? When a kulaBrands community member helps fund, brand, market, and sell a product, they get points in royalty pools that pay them a reverse royalty. There are actually 3 pools. 3 things we do, 3 pools available. The first pool is the founders pool, and that is someone who helps with the reward-based crowdfunding. They actually go on, pre-pledge, and pledge on Kickstarter. That is somebody who would receive a point in the founders pool. The next pool is the branding and marketing pool. These are the people that use their social influence online to share, create videos, respond to other people's posts. So they actively go out and promote the product online. The third are people that use their own social influence to sell products, whether it's to friends and family members or maybe it's online through one of the other social mediums. So what I want to do right now is I want to take you through a hypothetical example, and we're going to use Zip & Store So we're starting to get some idea of what's going on there. It's not completed yet. It still has a few days left. But I'm going to take you through a hypothetical example saying that we've taken Zip and Store through the crowdfunding process. We then did the branding and marketing, and then we did the sales. And now, let's say this is 2018. Zip and Store is being sold worldwide. It's being sold in many countries. It's being sold in the mass stores here in the US and in Canada, and being sold online. And it's an absolute smash hit. Okay, they're going to be our hypothetical example. And just to let you guys know, currently Zip and Store is over $141,000 on Kickstarter. So the first thing that's going to happen is when the Kickstarter campaign ends, there will be some funds deposited into the momentum pool. Okay, and that is a part. The points in the founders pool determines how money gets paid out in the momentum pool. And right now, the amount of money that's going to be paid out to our community members for that is about $5,000 to $6,000. We won't know until it ends completely. That money will be paid out about the middle of September. So let's jump into our hypothetical example. So we're going to say that, again, had tremendous success. It's being sold worldwide. During this royalty period, enough Zip and Stores were sold worldwide that the royalties in the founders pool, the portion that's in the founders pool, is $1 million, okay? We're going to say that the total number of points in this pool are 2,750 points, okay? You were one of the people who said, I like Zip and Store. I'm going to buy a Zip and Store. I want one of those. So you went on Kickstarter, you pledged on it, you paid for your pledge, you received your Zip and Store. You're using it today, right? It's beautiful. It helps you keep organized your kitchen. It's a phenomenal item, right? Take the 1 million divided by 2,750 points. That equals $363.63 a point. For you supporting that item on Kickstarter and buying one unit, prepaying for it through the reward-based crowdfunding, in this royalty period, you would have received a $363.63 check. Again, a hypothetical example. Now, the key is that 1 point is permanent, meaning you always have that point. So every royalty period, as Zip and Store sell, you will continue to get paid your share of that royalty every quarter. Their royalties are paid out quarterly. Every quarter, you would receive a check on that, depending on the total number of royalties and the total number of points in the pool. Okay, so now let's move on to the branding and marketing pool. So you got your Zip and Store and you absolutely loved it. You're like, wow, this is incredible. So you decided that you wanted to share it and do the branding and marketing as well. Totally your choice if you decide you want to do that. The reverse royalties in this pool would also be $1 million if they are $1 million in the founders pool. Okay, so they match each other. Okay, so how much is in each pool? The total number of points in this pool, 35,000 points. You did enough branding and marketing that you earned 35 points. Maybe you shared on Facebook and you did some tweets and you went and commented on other people's posts. You shared a video. Maybe you made a video and posted it on YouTube. You did quite a few things, but you generated these 35 points, okay? Again, $1 million divided by 35,000 points equals $28.57 for every point that's in that pool. A point times your 35 points would give you a check of $999.95 in this royalty pool alone, okay? So again, it's during this royalty period. Next royalty period, you get paid again and again and again for the life of the product. So now let's go on to the sales pool. Well, you had your Zip and Store. Matter of fact, these are going to be shipped in November, so you had it in your refrigerator for maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas, and you had some friends over, and reverse royalty payout in this pool, $1 million. Plus, on top of that $1 million, there would be the affiliate commissions that were paid on each sale that you did through your sales portal, okay? So you did 8 sales. So the total number of points in this pool are 15,000. This is significant, guys, because this means that we sold somewhere between 6,000 and 9,000 units of Zip and Store. At an average of, let's say, about $70 or $80 a unit, this would literally be hundreds of thousands of dollars, close to $1 million in revenue that we continued to bring in to Lenovations, which then allowed them to keep going forward in business, eventually getting into the mass market. And that's why in our hypothetical example, it's selling worldwide. There's lots of interest in the product. and it's selling in all the mass market because Len had the capital that was necessary in order to keep the business going and keep it moving forward. So you sold enough to receive 8 points. So you sold enough units, got your 8 points. You take the 1 million divided by 15,000 points equals $66.60 a point times your 8 points is $532.80 in commissions that you would have been paid in this royalty period on those 8 points. Next royalty period, you get paid on those 8 points again, and the next one again for the life of the product. Guys, can you see how you can build true residual income in the marketplace from participating in multiple projects? So let's look at where we're at in this hypothetical example. You made $363 from this royalty period from the founders pool, plus whatever you got out of the momentum pool, $999.95 from the branding and marketing pool, and then an additional $532 plus your affiliate commissions from the sales pool for a total of $1,894.95 in this royalty period alone. Now that's pretty good. But some of you might go, well, yeah, but I'm looking to make more serious money than that. It's really simple. Just participate in more projects, right? You're simply buying projects. You're sharing great projects with people. You're allowing people to buy products at a fair price. You know, one of the things that always drives me crazy about the home-based business industry is that all the products are overpriced. Remember, these products are going into the competitive retail marketplace. So when people are buying these, they're not buying them at an increased price. They're buying them at a fair market price. What? Delivering value to the customer. And you're making the money. But let's say you did 10 projects like this. Hypothetically, 10 projects, they were all within this range. That would be about $18,000 extra per royalty period. Let's say that was even in a year. Let's say you did 40 or 50 projects and 20 or 30 of them came to this number. You can see how you can begin to develop tens of thousands of dollars in potential revenue through supporting these projects. And again, these are ongoing. Quarter after quarter after quarter, year after year after year, the revenue can continue to come in. So you want to make more money. Okay, so the one way is to participate in more projects. Now, when I sat down to develop this business, I wanted to come up with a way where people would not have to recruit and they could still make money. It was very important to me because the only people who make a lot of money in the traditional home-based business are people that can recruit big teams and maybe have some sales ability. Okay, that's it. They can recruit and sales ability. We just showed you with our model where literally we will have people making thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars a year simply off of their own activity. However, we're community-based, so we need to build a bigger community. So what we've set up is it is totally optional, totally up to you. But if you would like to help us build the community, we have built-in compensation where you can leverage the people that you influence to come into the business, their activity. Okay, you can leverage their activity. So let's say that you bring 2 primary people in. So these would be people you directly influence. Maybe you shared it with 10, 15, 20 people, but only 2 of those said, yeah, I like kulaBrands. And they came on board and they started supporting projects, okay? And let's say that between the 2 of those, they ended up with 4 people that they influenced to come into the community for a total of 6 community members that you either directly or indirectly influence. If we took the hypothetical example that we went through with Sip and Store, the 1 point in the founders pool, 35 in the branding and marketing, and 8 in the sales pool. Let's say that all 6 of them plus you did the exact same thing. In this scenario, the 4 people that were indirectly influenced by you, who at this point haven't brought anybody they haven't influenced anyone, all of those would have made over $1,800 with the exact same scenario. The 2 that you directly influenced, they would have made over $2,000 in compensation, and you would have personally made over $4,000 in royalties on this one product in this one royalty period. And again, next royalty period, you get paid again and again, depending on what the sales are, depending on what the royalties are, depending on the number of points in the pools. You guys can see how powerful this model is. So what I want to talk to you about now is why in our scenario or hypothetical example was it that there was $1 million in each of the 3 pools. It's really simple. What happens with the royalty that's being paid, and I'll go over Sip and Store. Sip and Store is a 7% royalty. kulaBrands takes a piece right off the top. In this scenario with Zip Store, it's 1% of one of the 7%, okay? The 6 that's remaining, 2% goes into the founders pool, 2% goes into the branding and marketing, and then 2% goes into the sales pool, meaning there was a total of, that went out to the community, about $3 million in royalties, and that was split between the 3 pools, okay? So now let's do a quick recap. kulaBrands allows inventors to keep 100% control and equity of their creation, their idea. No sharks needed. Guys, I'm telling you, I've gone out and raised money before. I hate it. It is the worst thing to know that you're selling off a piece of something that you believe in so much to people that you don't even really know that much, right? So the best thing is, and again, in that scenario that we talked about with Shark Tank is, but if they move their company along, if they ever do need to raise money, they're raising at a much higher valuation, giving away a lot less of their company if that is ever necessary. Number 2, with kulaBrands, inventors pay no out-of-pocket to members until revenue is generated. All payments come from the sale of products generated anywhere in the world. Extremely important. If I can, every time I spend money, definitely have that money coming from a sale that I did, then my business doesn't need as much capital to continue to build it and grow it, because it's self-generating, meaning I bring in 90 and I pay out 10 or 20 or 30 or 40. It's giving me more operating capital to move my business forward. Extremely important to building a successful business. Number 3, your pledge is not an investment. Members simply pledge by pre-ordering on a project listed with a major crowdfunding platform. Your pledge helps our inventors reach their pledging goals and helps them successfully launch their products into worldwide sales. Number 4, kulaBrands software makes social sharing and marketing super easy, minimizing the amount of time it takes to create substantial income. Software allows for social sharing to multiple outlets. So a lot of times when you look in the home-based business industry, they talk about a part-time effort, and then they start talking about 10, 15 hours a week, things like that. If you're simply going to support projects, our goal is to make it where 2, 3, 4 hours a month you can put into this, and over the course of time, build a substantial income. That is ultimately the goal. And of course, if you want to put in more time and build a bigger income, that is totally possible, and you are able to do that. But some of the people that have been on with our Thursday night call have seen some of this software in operation. It is coming along. We're getting closer and closer to finalizing this, and the software that we're building is absolutely wonderful. It is a tremendous piece of software that's going to be a very powerful social marketing tool. Number 5, the power of the community and kulaBrands staff of experts makes transition from crowdfunding success to traditional retail marketplace easier, faster, more likely, both on and offline. So we're already proving this with what we've done with Zip Store. But there's a really easy way to figure out what we're talking about here. On our front page at kulaBrands.com, there's a recording by the name of a gentleman by the name of Jeff Hoffman. Jeff has come on our board. He is an advisor to the company, and he is our spokesperson. Jeff has been a very successful businessman. As a matter of fact, one of the most successful businessmen out there. He was actually one of the co-founders of Priceline.com. And also, if you go to an airport and you go to print your own tickets, that was another invention, another item that he built that company up, came up with the idea, built the company up, and sold it off. Jeff talks about in that recording about how much faster, how much better it would have been for him to build his companies, get his things off the ground that have been very successful if he would have had a community like kulaBrands. And we're proving that with what we've done with Zip Store. We're going to talk about at the end of this some of the proof, some of the things that are happening that are going to show you that what we're talking about here is a reality and is going to become huge in the near future. So receiving a check in the mail in the form of residual income is like no other income on the planet. Do some consistent work in the community, supporting projects now, and be rewarded with royalties for years to come. Again, I'll say it again. Royalty income is absolutely the best income that anybody can have. The problem is, up until now, a very small percentage of people have been able to earn it. Now, with kulaBrands and a reverse royalty model, more and more people are able to now go in and earn royalties. We've actually added, I believe about 600 or 700 people have supported the Zip Store project, which means we have added 600 to 700 people now that are earning royalties that were not earning them just here recently. And we're going to add thousands, tens of thousands more. So what do we provide? What are we developing? The kulaBrands platform. This platform is basically your back office. It's so you can manage and run your independent kulaBrands membership. We're building a direct sales portal. So you will get a sales portal of your own where people will be able to go and purchase products and do that stuff. Very important. This is where you earn the points in the sales pool, okay? Easy social sharing. So this software is going to allow you to go on, spend a few minutes, 5-10 minutes at a time, maybe a couple times a week over the course of a month, where you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to earn the points in the branding and marketing pool. And then, of course, an evaluation system so you can determine what products you like, first of all, and need and want to use, and then which of those products you believe can become successful down the road that will continue to pay your royalties for years to come. A community bill of rights, which will be done probably before the end of the year, but in the next couple months, we'll have that published. The community, this is the first company that I know of where the community is actually has someone, they elect a person to our board to represent the community to make sure that the business decisions, so this person becomes a board member, the community actually elects that person. We have temporarily put somebody there for now, but in a few months when the software is ready, we'll actually hold the election. One membership, one vote, majority wins, person gets placed on the board to represent you guys, so you know you're represented. You can also invent your own items. Len became a community member. We've got his product up there. We've looked at dozens of other community members projects that are going to be going into the marketplace that we're going to be launching over the next 6-12 months. So again, if you ever had an idea and you said, oh, I don't know what to do with it, I don't know how to get it going, kulaBrands is the answer. We take it, we help walk you through the process, we can then present it to the community. If the community says yes and your item is a go, then it can go through the rest of the process. We're also going to provide you with training, lots and lots and lots of training. As a matter of fact, the training that we're going to launch over the next 6 to 12 months would probably, if you bought it all separately, cost you thousands of dollars in order to purchase it, piece by piece and different stuff. And that is all included in the membership of kulaBrands. So what does it cost to become a kulaBrands member? It's $199. Now, guys, this is not a month. So there's no monthly fee. There's no auto ship here. There's no monthly commitment. You simply see a product you like, you purchase the item. If you don't want to purchase it, you can brand and market it. You can sell it. So again, the cost is $199. That's not a year either, guys. It is a lifetime membership for you to be involved in this community, meaning we're going to give you that back office, access to that for life. We're going to give you your sales site. All this stuff is included for $199. We wanted to make it an affordable opportunity. And for the people that maybe $199 right now is not in the cards, meaning you're tight financially, we have a payment plan that you can do. Where you can pay $20 a month over 12 months and become a member. Our goal is to make the most inclusive opportunity out there, make it available to as many people as possible. We, again, want to create tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people on a global level that are receiving these royalties. We want to open up this very small group of people that have been receiving these for years and years and years. We want to open it up to the masses. And so kulaBrands' goal is thousands of products, guys. Not 1, not 10, not 50, but ultimately to have thousands of products that are being sold in the marketplace and having our community support these projects. So imagine that these screens are products that are being sold all over the world in hundreds of countries around the world. And every time one of those sales takes place, whether it's the UK television station selling a Zip and Store. Why do I mention them? They've already contacted us and said the #1 online television station for selling products, just like our QVC, HSN, they want to carry Zip and Store. We have had tremendous amounts of distributors and people from Belize, from Africa. You guys, if you don't understand, when we show you this, we mean it. There's a little screen over here over Africa. We already have distribution that people in Africa, in Europe, in Australia, we have distributors that want to carry this thing. In Canada, we are going to be able to take these products and have them go global. And so you're going to have a business that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not you or not the people that you recruited, just what they produce or sell. It is literally the existing distribution channels. We're just helping the product get started in the marketplace, start with that branding and marketing. Eventually, we go to all these massive distribution channels, and that's where the products are being sold. That is what is generating true residual income for you, for your family, and for your next generation at least. This is willable for one generation. If that generation engages and starts to support the kulaBrands community, they can leave it for another generation. So if you are seriously looking for an opportunity to build true residual income and truly in the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, walk away from what you're doing or subsidize what you're doing, you're in the right place with kulaBrands.